I feel like I'm in a unique position to be critical when criticism is merited. And I see a lot of women behaving badly. I see a lot of women swallowing crap, feminist crap, and making decisions in their lives that don't serve them, that, they delay, marriage, I don't need a man, they man hate, they have this false sense of, being, a 10 out of 10 all the time because they get a ton of attention in their social media. And I just see them living in ways that aren't good for them, aren't good for men, aren't good for, it's just not going to end well for anyone, including them. So my goal with women is to shake them, is to say, hey, look, take a good look at what you're doing. Are you happy? Really, forget the talking points. Are you happy? Take a good look at what you're saying. Do you sound like the kind of woman that someone would want to wife up or bring home to mom? Is that what your tone sounds like? Um, Take a good look at the decisions you're making. Like, are you going to land in a place in 8 years that you're happy about? So my goal is, like, I think that women are incredibly beautiful and special when they're in their feminine, right? I think feminine energy is incredible. Nurturing and loving and gentle, and there's something about a feminine woman that is truly remarkable. And I want to remind women of that. And these women that are living in their masculine, and I know because I did it, you're not happy. And it shows. So it's a tough love, Andrew. It's a tough love of, like, and some of these girls are very young, and I'm like, hey, I need to shake you before it's too late. And it comes from a place of wanting them to see, and also wanting to call out bad behavior, because I get a ton of mail from really good girls, right, who are tired of being in the mix with, women who they man hate, they take men for all they're worth. Oh, you're just a wallet, and they don't want to be associated with that. And they also really are looking to find a good guy. And I speak for them too. Like, hey, you guys, you're messing with the pool in a nasty way. So I can be pretty tough, but it comes from, for me, it comes from a good place of believing that women, when they are really in their feminine energy, are beautiful, and they've lost their way, many of them, and it's sad.
You think society corrupted them?
I think that they swallowed a lot of, I don't think it's just society. Like, I don't think you can just blame society. I think that a lot of families spew that stuff. I think a lot of young women come into the world thinking they have to be ambitious. They have to. And where does that come from? Sometimes it comes from mom and dad. I think that generation, even my generation of the parents, um, that were around, was always like, what's the career path? You're going to go to grad school. You're going to do this. I think there's been a lot of pressure to be something, for women to sit in masculine energy. And I think at some point, yeah, you know what? There are tons of talking points in society, and you don't have to swallow them, though, right? You have a choice ultimately. And I think women, young women in particular, are very impressionable and have made a decision they think that's going to make them happy. They think the Chelsea Handlers and are looking out for them. They think that the Glamour magazine back in the day and that has their back, and they don't. Those are structures put in place by the system to wreak havoc on relationships, on men and women, on the family dynamic. And they do that through women almost exclusively, because young women are very impressionable, and you can see how they vote. It's a joke, right? And I think that's what's happened.
So I was kind of reviewing some of your history, um, and definitely you were more of a feminist at least than I guess your rhetoric now. Is it true that Tomasi was the one who changed your mind on these issues, or is it
Oh,
more
my friend
complex than that?
Rolo Tomasi. He and I are good friends now. I it's interesting. If you look at Rolo did play, we had a great conversation. And I have deep respect for Rolo, because he was deeply respectful of me. And we've had a number of exchanges. So I'll get to Rolo in a second. I lived my life. People will look at my life and say, oh, she was a boss babe. Because I sat on TV and did all of those things. And in truth, that wasn't me. I went to school. I did graduate valedictorian, not because I wanted to be someone and get an internship. In fact, I extended my school. I had a scholarship at school and I extended it because I didn't want to work. I did not want that life. I got offered a job I'll never forget, working for Lancome, and I had to travel. My mom was like, "This is amazing." And I was like, "Oh, I don't want to travel for work." That I was very shy. I was a very good girl. Um,
Lancome, isn't that makeup? Is Lancome
yeah,
yeah, that's makeup. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was a very shy, good girl who loved being a student, didn't have a career trajectory, was not ambitious, became a school teacher for a very long time. Why? Because I wanted the summers off. I was in New York City. I was not drawn to the men there. I didn't like the finance guys. I was super shy. I worked in lounges for a while. I worked in bars. I didn't drink. Everyone knew if I took a sip of wine, I was drunk because I had no tolerance. I wasn't a drinker. I never done a drug in my life to this day, not even like weed, nothing. It was like a big joke. I just was a really shy girl. I didn't pick up what I should have done, is pick up and leave New York, and I would have had a very different life. But I wasn't drawn to the finance culture. I fell into TV by mistake, people should know. I was writing for a blog that had like 3 viewers, and Mark Levin, it was a review of Mark Levin's book, and he picked it up and read it on the air, and it catapulted everything. And at that point, I don't feel that I had this feminist energy. It was when I got into TV that I had a lot of pressure. I fell into TV and I quit my teaching job, and I had agents like, "You've got to do this. Like, people work their whole lives for this and you've got to do it." And I was like, "Ooh, I don't know if I want to do that. It's like too much." No, you've got to do it. And I got it in my head like, this is it. This is my chance to do what all the teachers always told me. I was going to chart my own path. I was going to have my own income. I was going to be self-sufficient, and okay, I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to do the thing. And it was easy for me, frankly, because I had a gift for the gab and I wasn't afraid of TV. My mom had coached drama classes out of our house when I was a kid. That was her part-time job. She coached acting. And I was like, "Oh, this is my thing. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to play a TV commentator." And I did it, and it just ballooned and it got me. And it wasn't until and I got out of the TV ultimately. I left it because I was like, this is toxic as all hell. And once I had a baby, my life changed. I changed everything. I went to part-time. I've never had a full-time job and been a parent ever, and I never will. And I stayed home with him for a while. But it was really, I didn't realize that I still had, even though I had sort of washed the career off of, like, all of the toxic stuff that came with working in television and being like an empowered woman in the space. I had washed a lot of that off me, and I didn't live that way at home. Interestingly, I got married, and my husband was very much the man of the house. I only carried that energy at work, but it was still on me, stuck like glue. I didn't realize until I sat with Rollo that it had sunk in a little bit. And even though I had this home life where husband was a man of the house and I was very feminine in my home life, and it was a running joke actually that I would be really big and loud on TV, and at home they'd be like, "Does she talk?" Like, because I'm very, very subdued. It's really funny. It's a funny paradigm contrast. But when I sat with Rollo, I realized I still have the reflex, though, to be defensive. And he didn't sit and like talk down to me. He just kind of talked with me, and I left that interview and I said, "That's not me. Where's that coming from?" And it was like a slime. I had to like, "Ugh." And it was the start of me realizing, wow, if that could happen to me and I'm not wired for that, wasn't raised that way, and I didn't want the climb. Imagine what's happening to women who are more receptive to that because like they've internalized it in a bigger way. And I became really aware of it, and I felt like it was my job then. I had a mission, like, okay, I need to like open your eyes, women. Like, it was a moment for me. And he and I became good friends after that. And I just became more passionate about what I was saying because I realized, wow, this even hit me, and I'm not wired like that. I've never been ambitious. It's like, it was actually a funny thing. My dad was like, "You're going to wait tables." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess you dress up. It's cute. I look cute. Yeah." That was all I really wanted to do.